the Texas Sharpshooter Special. Here's how you become a master marksman of rhetoric. First, you get your shotgun and blast away at the side of a barn. Then you walk up, find the tightest cluster of pellet holes, and draw a big bullseye around it. Voila, you're a sharpshooter. In an argument, this means ignoring all the data that contradicts you and focusing only on the tiny random cluster that supports your point. Sure, our new soda has been linked to tooth decay and spontaneous combustion in 98% of lab rats, but look at this. 2% of them learn to yodel. Our product is a miracle of musical refreshment, the ancestry attack. Why attack the idea when you can attack its great-great-grandparents? This is the genetic fallacy where you judge an idea based on where it came from. You want to adopt a vegetarian diet. You know who else was a vegetarian? That weird guy, Pythagoras, the ancient Greek bean hater who thought he could remember his past lives. You're getting your dietary advice from a guy who is afraid of fava beans. It doesn't matter if the idea is good now. You've successfully tied it to some kooky historical weirdo, and now the whole concept feels silly by association. The onion cutting gambit. Logic is cold and hard. Emotions are warm and gooey. When you're losing on facts, it's time to make them feel. You're arguing for why you should be allowed to get a third dog. The argument isn't going well. You look your partner in the eye, your lip quivering. When I look at that little puppy on the website, I see all the love we have yet to give. Don't you want to give more love? Is our home so full that there's no room for one more beating heart? Now, it's not about vet bills and shedding. It's a referendum on your partner's capacity to love. Brutal and effective. The Uno reverse card. This move, also known as tu quoque, is the ultimate no-you defense. When someone calls you out on your crap, you just spin it right back at them. Your friend says, dude, you have a serious problem with procrastination. You retort, oh, that's rich coming from you. You still haven't finished watching that season of The Sopranos you started back in 2019. Maybe you should deal with your own commitment issues before you come after me. Does this magically fix your procrastination? No. But does it shut them up and make you feel smugly superior for a fleeting moment? Absolutely. The with us or against us ultimatum. This is a classic for a reason. You paint the world in two colors, black and white. My way or the highway to hell. So, you don't want to come to my improv show? I see. So you either support my artistic dreams and share in my creative journey, or you actively want to see me fail and die alone in a ditch. There is no in between. You turn a simple scheduling conflict into a profound moral choice. It's emotional blackmail dressed up as a simple question. It's beautiful. The prove it isn't real ploy. Make the most bonkers claim you can imagine. Then sit back and demand the other person disprove it. I can communicate telepathically with squirrels, but only when no one is watching and only about the location of premium quality acorns. It's a very subtle art. Now, I don't see you with any evidence that I can't do this. So I think my point stands. The burden of proof is for chumps. A real master makes their opponent do all the work, sending them on an impossible quest to prove a negative while you enjoy a quiet moment of squirrel-based communion. The Sherlock Holmes' dumb cousin? This trick is all about what isn't there. Nobody has ever definitively proven that my house isn't sitting on top of the lost city of Atlantis. Therefore, it is not unreasonable to assume that it is. You take a lack of evidence against your position and treat it as evidence for your position. It's the appeal to ignorance, and it's how you can justify believing in anything from ghosts to the idea that your pet rock has a rich inner life. If you can't prove it's false, who's to say it's not true? The Casino King's folly. This one preys on our brain's pathetic attempt to find patterns in the chaos. You see a roulette wheel land on black 6 times in a row. Aha, you declare, pushing all your chips onto red. It's due for a red. The wheel, being an inanimate object with no memory or sense of fairness, doesn't care. It's the same 50-50 shot it's always been. You can use this in arguments too. I've been wrong about the weather forecast the last 3 days. I'm due to be right today. No, you're not. You're just bad at meteorology. But it feels true, and that's half the battle. The gish gallop. Named after a creationist debater, the gish gallop is the art of drowning your opponent in a fire hose of bullcrap. The goal isn't to be right, it's to be overwhelming. You spew out dozens of half-truths, misinterpretations, and outright lies in such a short span of time that your opponent can't possibly debunk them all. While they're stammering, trying to correct your first 3 points, you've already unleashed 20 more. It's the rhetorical equivalent of a Zerg rush. It's not pretty, it's not honest, but it can sure as hell shut an argument down. The scarecrow smackdown. Your opponent makes a perfectly reasonable point like, we should recycle. You, a rhetorical artist here, we must abandon all earthly pleasures and live in a yurt woven from our own hair. You then proceed to heroically debunk this new, insane argument you just invented. Oh, so you want us to be miserable, hair yurt dwelling savages? I, for one, refuse to live in such a world. You're not fighting them anymore. You're fighting a grotesque, flammable effigy of their point that you built yourself. It's glorious, like picking a fight with a mannequin and declaring victory when its head pops off. The character assassination conga line. Why bother with your opponent's carefully constructed argument when you can just point out they have a weird laugh and once wore socks with sandals? This ain't about their logic. It's about their soul-deep, unfixable lameness. You claim the Earth is round? Fascinating. This is coming from a man who still thinks nu metal is a viable genre. What's next? Are you going to tell me your Pogs collection is a sound investment? Suddenly the debate is about their questionable life choices, and their actual point is left sobbing in a corner. It's a low blow, but hey, we're here to win, not make friends. Deploy the tactical squid. You're cornered. Your argument is falling apart like a wet gingerbread house. Time to pull a move straight from the cephalopod playbook, blast a huge cloud of ink and swim away. Your partner says, you forgot to take out the trash again. You respond with gravitas. Trash. Garbage. It reminds me of the fleeting nature of existence itself. Did you know the ancient Egyptians had 37 different words for garbage, each with its own spiritual significance? Now you're not a forgetful slob. You're a profound philosophical thinker. They're so lost in the ink of your bizarre non sequitur, they'll forget what the fight was even about. The doomsday dominoes. This is a classic for the paranoid and the overdramatic. Your friend says something simple like, maybe you shouldn't eat that entire tub of Cheese Whiz in one sitting. You immediately extrapolate this to its most apocalyptic conclusion. Oh, I see. First, you take my Cheese Whiz, then you take my freedom. Before I know it, I'm living in a government-mandated gray jumpsuit, forced to eat nutrient paste while a robot overlord watches me floss. Your suggestion is literally the first domino on the path to dystopian hell. Who can argue with that? Nobody wants to be the guy who caused the cheese-based apocalypse. The everybody loves Raymond maneuver. Humans are herd animals, and you can use that to your advantage. Got a terrible idea, like investing your life savings in a company that makes edible socks? Just tell your skeptical spouse, babe, everyone is doing it. All the big players, the movers, the shakers, they're all diversifying into the foot-flavored snack apparel market. Are we really going to be the ones left behind? It doesn't matter if everyone is just two weirdos on Reddit. The fear of missing out is a more powerful motivator than common sense will ever be. It's the power of peer pressure, weaponized for financial ruin. The two-door trap. Why give your opponent a universe of options when you can lock them in a tiny room with only two doors? One door leads to agreeing with you, and the other leads to admitting they're a morally bankrupt monster. So, team, are we going to stay late and finish this project, showing our dedication and ensuring our collective success? Or are we going to go home at 5 p.m. like a bunch of lazy, good-for-nothing clock watchers who hate this company? It's not really a choice, is it? It's a loyalty test where the only right answer is to do what you wanted all along. The dead guy endorsement. Why use your own brain when you can use a famous dead person's brain? You're arguing some nonsense, and your opponent foolishly asks for evidence. Evidence? You scoff. Leonardo da Vinci, a man who designed a helicopter in the 1400s, was a noted believer in the healing power of interpretive dance. Are you honestly telling me you know more than da Vinci? You've just outsourced your credibility to a genius who can't pop up to say, oh, hey, I never said that. I was too busy drawing weird babies. Checkmate. Modern science. The my uncle's hamster defense. The anecdote. A single emotionally resonant story is more powerful than a mountain of boring, soulless data. Someone hits you with statistics about how bungee jumping is dangerous. You just smirk and say, yeah, well, my uncle's hamster Nibbles accidentally fell off a bookshelf, did a flip, and landed in a bowl of pudding. He lived for 3 more years and was happier than ever. So much for your gravity and statistics. A compelling narrative, especially one involving a heroic hamster, will short-circuit the logical part of the brain every time. It's storytelling as a blunt instrument. The disappearing finish line. This is a fun one. Just as your opponent is about to cross the finish line and prove their point, you pick up the finish line and sprint 100 yards away. You say, no real gamer would ever play on a console. They say, but I'm a real gamer. And I own a PlayStation. You smoothly reply, but no truly dedicated gamer would touch anything but a liquid-cooled PC with enough RGB lighting to land a 747. You just keep redefining the terms until you've defined them out of the argument entirely. It's a guaranteed way to never be wrong. The poisoned well. This trick is deliciously preemptive. Before your opponent even gets to speak, you poison the well from which they'll be drawing their arguments. Now my opponent, a known fan of the Star Wars prequels, is about to present his case. Just keep that questionable judgment in mind as you listen to his points. See? Before he's said a word, you've already painted him as a man of dubious taste and unreliable intellect. Anything he says is now tainted by the fact that he unironically enjoys Jar Jar Binks. It's a beautifully dirty move.